I think that Google is going to get crushed by AI in the very near future. Now, there's a certain asterisk to that point because I heard Google might be coming out with its own AI that is probably going to replace Google search. This is huge, of course. But let me show you guys this really interesting interesting example of the traditional, like, how do we figure things out on, in the world? Well, we go to Google and we look for our answers there, right? So that's what I did. I was like, is there a way to receive my SMS messages over Wi-Fi? Because I live in the desert. I live off the grid. I live in a place where I get internet through Starlink, but I don't have cellular service. I think I get cellular service maybe once every couple of hours. The satellites pass over. I don't really know how it works. And I get a blip of service, and I can maybe get a text message in or something like that. But I'm constantly needing to verify my accounts by receiving a text message. You guys know the two-factor authentication via. So it's a real hassle. So I'm trying to figure out is there a way to receive SMS messages over Wi-Fi? All right, so I went to Google, the normal place, right? Where do we start? Where do we look for our answers to start? Google, sure. And I came across all right, switching your SMS over Wi-Fi. This is the number one result, right? So, all right, so what is Telstra? How do you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And I went to how to turn on SMS over Wi-Fi with Telstra, and then I caught this part. It's like, okay, Wi-Fi networks within Australia. It's like, okay, that doesn't seem like what I'm looking for. I'm not in Australia, so I don't think that applies. Next one I went to was like SMS over Wi-Fi, a guide to how to send text over Wi-Fi, and it went on, and it talked about, how to use WhatsApp, Viber, Messenger, and these other messenger applications that aren't receiving SMS via internet. They are, messenger applications. They're different. They're not the question I had. Right, and this went on, right? I, as you guys can see here, these little results. I basically went through the whole first page of Google. I was like, all right, how do you do this? Went to Apple's homepage, went to Google's page, and basically nothing was coming up with any sort of, nothing was answering the question that I was trying to ask. And Google didn't know that, but it was trying to provide the best results it could find on the internet. I thought, okay, this isn't going to work. But you know what? Let's throw this into ChatGPT just for fun and see what happens, right? Is there a way to receive my SMS messages over Wi-Fi? And ChatGPT says, yes, there are several ways to receive SMS messages over Wi-Fi. One way is to use a messaging app that allows you to receive and send SMS messages using an internet signal such as WhatsApp, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, additionally, some mobile carriers offer the service to receive SMS messages over Wi-Fi. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Some of the services offer that. I was like, okay. Next question, does Google Fi allow it? That's my carrier, right? Does Google Fi allow it? So I was able to just very quickly and easily follow up on my question. Now imagine trying to find that question in specific nuance to what you were doing on Google search results, right? Now as we get more nuanced, the power of ChatGPT and AI-assisted question answering becomes powerful. It's like, okay, yes, Google does allow it. Google Fi uses a technology called Wi-Fi calling. Okay, that's so specific and to the point of what I was trying to figure out, which allows us to make calls and receive text over a Wi-Fi network instead of using a regular cellular network. This feature is available on compatible devices and can be enabled in settings. Additionally, the Google Fi app allows you to send and receive SMS messages over Wi-Fi even if you're outside the USS, enabled by default, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, if it's enabled by default, but it's not working for me, well, maybe it's because I got my Google Fi SIM card in an iPhone. So my next question was so succinct, right? Imagine now trying to follow up this thread on Google search, trying to say, all right, does my Google iPhone allow for this feature which enables this, right? So now I'm like several rabbit holes into the query. But I was like, okay, how do I enable that feature on an iPhone? And sure enough, to enable Wi-Fi calling on an iPhone when using Google Fi, here's what you need to do, right? And it gave me the steps on how to do this. You will know Wi-Fi is active because Wi-Fi, blah, blah, blah. But basically, in 3 simple questions, I was able to not only get the question I want answered succinctly, I was able to follow up on that to my unique situation and get the exact answer that I was looking for without having to scroll through articles and articles of like for example, Google's here is like search engine optimization version. All right, it's like what applies to me? Well, I don't need to figure out what applies to me because I'm not reading an article. I know what applies to me because AI has figured that out, which is absolutely amazing. How to enable Google Fi SIM on an iPhone. To enable Google Fi SIM on an iPhone, make sure it's blah, blah, blah. So this is, I'm actually following up now, trying to get my whole region switched over from blah, blah, blah. This is additional follow-up stuff. But man, oh man, guys, AI is going to be crazy. And Google, if they do not do AI of their own, Google is going to be no more. Like, I'm sure they know that. I'm pretty sure I heard that the founders, Sergio and I forget, were actually getting back active into Google, specifically to address this up and coming. Basically, this is a Google killer. If Google doesn't do something about this, Google search will be almost useless in the future. Like, look how succinct that is. Look how it allows for follow-up on my unique situation and specific to the point. I don't have to browse through articles trying to find the pertinent bit of data on some message forum from 10 years ago or whatever the case may be on how to figure it out. Man, oh man. Anyway, guys, boom, ChatGPT, the Google killer, unless Google creates its own AI, which it most probably will. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.